Waking up every day, merely existing, and call that living? Unacceptable. Unacceptable for me, and it ought to be unacceptable for you too. Many of us have spent way too much time being ruled, controlled, dominated by fear. And because of that, we have merely existed and not lived. Live the life that God has given us to live to its fullest. But yet we've given fear way more dominance in our lives than the positive words that people have spoken to us, the life that people have spoken into us, really even the life that He's spoken into us. Ruled, controlled, dominated by fear. Now you tell me how that's acceptable. One of my favorite poems of all time, written by Marianne Williamson. She starts it out by saying, our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? She finishes this portion of the poem by saying that we were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give people permission to do the same. Wow, what a powerful poem. This is my summer camp room / after school program room. I like to come sit in here because this is a room where I've gotten to see many barriers come down. Many lessons have been taught on how to not be controlled and ruled by fear. How many children grow up in an environment where that's the dominant mindset, that it's okay for their fears to overrule them, control them, and keep them from ever accomplishing the goals that they were born, that they were designed to accomplish. I can't have that. Neither should you. I don't know about you, but I'm so tired, and I've been this way for years. I'm very tired of watching fear dominate people, kill people's dreams, hold people hostage in a realm of merely existing, not living, existing. Now, on what planet that ought to be acceptable? In what universe does this make sense? That we ought to be dominated, ruled, controlled by fear? You know, in this room, in this ring, I've learned some of the greatest lessons about never, ever being controlled and being dominated by fear. On many floors like this, in many rings, in rooms like this, in gymnasiums, in different places, I've learned the most amazing lessons of confronting my fears, looking it dead in the eye and letting them understand, I'm here to stay. I'm not going anywhere. If anybody's leaving, you are. Because you've had enough control over my life. And I see how that's ended up. I think a lot of times we don't take inventory of our history, the areas of our history where we would shine. We shined like so bright. We were meant to live, not to exist. You know, the Bible says that Jesus Christ came to give us life, and that more abundantly. Now, we're not talking about abundance in terms of material wealth, simply material wealth. I know there are those who would like to preach that a whole lot without fully realizing the richness that's in what Jesus is saying in that, what God is saying in that. He came to give us life, and that more abundantly. Now that's living, not existing. Especially in this time in history. I'm more fired up and more passionate about this than any other time before. Why? Because by design, I was born to help shape and change lives, change history even. I refuse to be silent on this. Because if it means removing you, yanking you, plucking you out of the darkness that you're in right now, so that you can come into a light of seeing yourself as one of His beloved children, then it's worth the sacrifice. It's worth it. Whatever it's gonna take. When we live controlled and dominated by fear, we live a life of being mediocre, average, thinking that it's okay to, let's just barely get by. Let's barely scrape through the cracks here. There's a group of teenagers that I used to meet with. All of them my karate babies. They're all adults now, and I love them and I miss them so much. But we've had some amazing times, beautiful conversations in this room, at my house, on many different occasions. On one particular occasion on this floor, I was addressing them because I happened to notice that they never wanted to really put a whole lot of effort, like give it their all to accomplish one thing. But I noticed it across the board. But I had a feeling it had a whole lot more to do with things that were just way deeper than just, I'm just not trying. Like we often do during classes, we sat down, I stopped what I was doing with them so that we could talk a little bit. And I explained to them what it is that I was seeing, what I was observing with them, their lack of effort, their just unwillingness to give their all to one particular goal. And I started to ask them why, because I had such high standards for them, and I will always keep high standards for them. And one of my girls, one of my babies, she looks at me and says, you know, when we go to school, they don't set those kind of standards for us. And I think we've all just come to a place where we realize that if we try our hardest and we fail, that's just too devastating. So if we don't try our hardest and we fail, we can always fall back on saying, well, I didn't try my hardest anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I said, wow. I better never hear you say that again. And I am going to hold you to this standard. I'm always going to set a high bar. Why? Because let's reach for this thing. Successful people fail their way to the top. That's what I used to listen to one of my, I call them my CD mentors. It's over a couple decades ago that I would hear this CD over and over again in my head. And he would say, you know, successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. But even more impactful, successful people that fail their way to the top. If we don't learn how to look at failures differently and realize that there are opportunities for us to get better, opportunities for us to become very successful, we're missing the boat. We cannot allow for fear to take over to the point where we just merely exist and not live. That's unacceptable. I'm here to let you know, I back you 100%. This is one of those topics that I believe hit home for so many of you. So I'll challenge you to contact me. If you have no one to talk to, I want you to call me. I want you to contact me. Let's sit and talk about this. Let's get you out of the place that you find yourself in. Let's dig you out of that hole you find yourself in. My wife and I will walk through this thing with you. You don't believe me? Try it. Call us. Let's see what it's like to do life together for real. Because I cannot in good conscience sit here knowing that you're out there suffering the way that you are and think that it's somebody else's problem. Absolutely not. It became my problem today. We're here with you. Please, don't feel alone. Understand that life is supposed to bring forth challenges. Those challenges, when they come, they were meant for growth, not for defeating you. They were meant to add to you, okay? Not to take away from your life. Changing our perspective on this, I believe, will change our lives. This is really important to me. This is so important to my wife and I. that we get to share this with you. You have nothing to lose. You have absolutely nothing to lose, and you have everything to gain. Just think of it. So much going through my heart right now. And this is me trying to be calm. I feel like if I let this fire out, my goodness, it'll burn right through your screen. To especially all of my karate babies, just know that Mr. Danny will not stand by and watch you just be controlled by your fears. I can't do it, baby. You're gonna get through this. You're gonna come out on the other end of this thing on fire, but an awesome fire. Trust me, I'm gonna walk through this with you. Believe this, I believe in you. All of you who know me, you know how serious I am when I say that. I believe in you. Let's tackle this thing together. Fear doesn't get to dominate us anymore. We get to dominate it. That's what we do. That's who we are. This is where we're taking this thing. I love you.